All right, guys, what's going on? DJ Hess here, CollectiveKicks.com. Wanted to bring you guys the follow-up to the original video that I did about PayPal scams and how to protect yourself a little bit better when dealing with PayPal. I covered things from the buyer perspective. I'll link that video in the description. But this video is going to focus on preventing PayPal scams from the seller's perspective, because there's definitely some loopholes and definitely some things that you need to look out for as a seller so you don't get burned at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Basically, there's a couple different ways that you can accept money from PayPal. You can accept money as a gift, and you can also accept money through Invoice. When you accept money through a gift, you think that there's 100% protection to that, but there is actually some loopholes that you need to be aware of so you don't get burned. And it's kind of like a risky scenario. So let's say I was selling this pair of turtle doves for $1,200 or something like that on the open market, which if you lucked out, you got them at retail and you're trying to sell them for like $1,200. I mean, this is a scenario where it's very real because there's people that really lucked out on getting a pair of Yeezys that's like the shoes, but they like having the extra money a little bit better. They can use that towards other things. I'm not blaming the people that do that. I don't think it's a bad scenario necessarily. If you lucked out and got a pair of the Pirate Blacks for retail and you're trying to sell them for a little bit of extra money, it's like kind of a nice experience that you can make money off of something and a significant amount of money off of something. But there's also a lot of risk involved as a seller. So if you don't watch yourself and know what you're doing, and this is the first time sort of scenario for you, like, you got to be careful, because there's some savvy buyers out there that can pigeonhole you and basically make you lose your money. And so that sweet concept of making $500 off a shoe or whatever it might be turns into a nightmare, because now you're 500 plus in the hole on something that you ended up selling, plus potentially out a pair of sneakers. So lots of things to be aware of, but let's go ahead and get into it. So let's say you're selling this. Let's say I sold this on a Facebook group for $1,200, and I wanted to do a local meetup with somebody, and they wanted to go ahead and give me $1,200 for that shoe. And I'm like, sure, let's do that. And then they tell me, hey, actually, I don't have $1,200 cash. I only have $200 cash, and I have $1,000 in my PayPal account, and I'll just transfer the money to you as a gift. And then when we meet up, then basically we'll just make sure that money goes through, and then everything should be clear. Now, I tweeted about this the other week, and I was asking people, would you be clear in this situation if you have somebody that gives you money and then you receive it? Like, what's the consequences of that? Can anything actually happen so that person can potentially reverse their gift to you and then take back that $1,000? A lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people are saying everything should be fine. There were people saying, yes, there is a risk. They can do something against you, which is contact their bank and reverse a transaction, or say that it was unauthorized transaction on their credit card. If their money in their PayPal account was funded through their credit card, they can do that, and then PayPal can't do anything against that, and then they can pull that back, that $1,000. So there is actually a little bit of risk involved with that. Now, it's not too likely that something like that's going to happen, but it is a possibility that can happen, where you can get that money reversed even through gifts. So a little bit riskier. Obviously, if they just brought $1,200 cash to the table, then you have less risk. But let's say that they did this route. Having them PayPal gifted is a good option, but it can be reversed. So the other option is, let's say if I didn't want to do gift, I was like, well, let's go ahead and do the invoice so I can have seller, quote unquote, seller protection on this item. I contacted PayPal and asked them a lot of these questions, so that's kind of where I'm getting my information from. But basically, if you do that and if you meet up in person, you won't be PayPal protected from a transaction of an item if you don't have a shipping number. And so when you're meeting up in person, you don't get shipping information because you're just exchanging goods and services in person. They can't verify that you actually gave them the product. So it becomes riskier in person if you do an invoice than if you even do a gift. So you definitely want to try to recommend the gift scenario in that sort of scenario. That being said, you get an invoice. Let's say you're selling this to somebody out of state, then you get the shipping information and you can go through the invoice process and you have seller protection at that point. So if the person then says, no, I never got my item, like you never shipped me the shoes, then PayPal can actually step in and say, yeah, he did ship the shoes. Here's the item tracking number, which is really important for you to actually have signature confirmation. If it's a really expensive item as well, it's really important to know that there's signature confirmation there. And it happened to me as a seller. I shipped a pair of shoes to somebody and they said that they never got the package. And it automatically, as a seller, PayPal automatically freezes your funds. So I was out the money up until everything was resolved. I contacted PayPal. I said, hey, what's going on? I can see that this item, it wasn't this one, it was just a random pair of shoes. I can see this item was shipped and the seller, or the buyer, excuse me, put a freeze on the shipment and had them redirected to a different spot and say they were never delivered. And like the USPS never said it was delivered. It was like a really shady situation, but PayPal sided on my side because they saw that it was going to be delivery confirmation, and the seller, or excuse me, the buyer ended up redirecting the shipment. And so because of that, they freed up the funds and I got my money back. But so there's some situations that can happen with that. Now, let's say as a seller, I ship this shoe to somebody and then the seller claims that I sent them a replica pair of sneakers, and then they open up a case against me. Now let's say I'm $1,200 in the hole because that's a $1,200 freeze on my account on that until PayPal investigates this whole thing. And then meantime, this buyer ends up selling or shipping back a pair of fake Yeezys, and then they're taking my $1,200. Now I know this is a situation that can happen as well, which is really kind of scary. And there's some really scandalous people out there, and hopefully karma comes and bites them in the ass at the end of the day. But if this ends up happening to you, the buyer opens up a case saying that you sent them a fake pair of shoes, then eBay or PayPal investigates this, and then you will go ahead and they'll send back the pair of shoes to you. At that point, you can go ahead and open a countersuit or a counterclaim back to them saying that they didn't ship back the item that was shipped to them. And then PayPal goes through and investigates again. And it's this huge battle of he said, she said sort of stuff. So at the end of the day, man, it's really, really risky to go ahead and ship $1,000 pair of shoes somewhere across the US or whatever, and then try to make that sale happen. The other thing is, and I don't know, I haven't had too much experience with international shipping, but historically, like, international shipping is really, really dangerous. Like, you can get into a lot of stuff because they couldn't originally confirm delivery confirmation at some places, and because of that, PayPal automatically would like side with them because you couldn't prove that it was delivered because that location doesn't accept delivery confirmation. So it's important that if you do ship internationally, that they do have the ability to confirm the delivery. So if somebody offers you $2,000 for this shoe and you're trying to sell it for $1,200, like, just know that there's a reason why they're offering more, because there's a good chance that they can go ahead and open a claim against you and get all of the money back, and then say that it was never delivered. Then you're out the money for the shoe, and then they don't have to ship back anything because there was nothing that was proven. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, as far as I can tell from the seller perspective. So there's a lot of risk involved. My 2 cents is try to sell to somebody that you can trust. Try to sell to somebody, like, I would definitely go through a consignment shop if I were you, if you had an authentic product that you were trying to sell and make a profit on. If you don't know what you're doing, consignment shops are definitely somebody that do, or go through somebody that that really knows how to do this sort of stuff. But if it's your first time selling something and you're trying to sell $1,000 pair of shoes, definitely do your research before you go ahead and do that, because you can be out a significant amount of money. There's some snakes out there and they will get you. So hopefully this will be an informative video for you guys. Wait in the comment section though, let me know what I missed. Trying to cover things as thoroughly as I can, but the baby's crying downstairs and I got to get back downstairs and help out the wife. Thank you guys for watching again, and we'll catch you guys for some more videos soon. Peace.